Okay, welcome back. This is part two of the Washington Conference. Again, the book that we're using is this Fundamental Knowledge of Modern Japanese History. And so follow along in your book. If you have a copy of this, it's on page 260. This is section 2. And the title of section 2 is Kaigun Gunbi Seigen Mondai. And that means problems limiting naval preparedness, or the problem of limiting naval preparedness. Okay, so the conference, Kaigi wa 1921年 Taisho 10年 11月12日から22年2月6日まで開かれた. So that means the conference was held, that's past tense passive, hirakareta. Hiraku means to hold something, and then hirakareta means it was held. Okay, and the conference was held from November 12th of 1921, that's Taisho 10. They have a system of numbering years that correspond to, now they correspond to the reigns of the emperors. So this is Emperor Taisho, the 10th year of Emperor Taisho, 1921. And from November 12th, 1921 until February 6th, 1922, Niju Ninen. Okay, so the conference was held from November 12th, 1921 to February 6th, 1922. Gunshuku mondai ni tsuite wa Amerika wa Beie Nichi no Shuryokukan Horyuryo no Hiritsu o 10対10対6とすることを主張し、日本側の対米英7割を主張と対立したが、結局米案が通り、米英核5日3不意核 1.67 とした. Alright, long sentence already. Okay, and also, if you look here, it's got a blue underline. This is in Word. We got a blue underline here because we got two was. And just as if you are typing in English in Word, if you use a word like myself or himself or herself, it'll say like that's not grammatically correct when in fact it is. This is an example of the Microsoft Word doing a false positive on Japanese grammar, because you can have two was this close to one another. It doesn't matter, and the sentence itself is perfect. I mean, there's nothing wrong with the sentence. So gunshuku mondai ni tsuite wa. So it's like so ni tsuite is in regard to. They have a lot of different words, like ni kanshite is another one that mean in regard to. So gunshuku, military disarmament, mondai, problem. So in regard to the problem of military disarmament. And then Amerika wa Beie Nichi no Shuryokukan Horyuryo no Hiritsu o 10対10対6とすることを主張する. Let's just leave that. It's she, so they're continuing on the sentence, but let's just end the sentence there. That's enough sentence. So America as for, so it's showing that what's important comes after it. And that's why you can have two was so close to each other. If the important part comes after it, then you have to use wa. Bei Nichi, U.S., U.K., Japan. Shuryokukan. Shuryokukan is a capital ship. So Shuryoku means like main power ship. And then this here is Horyuryo. So Horyu, no, not Horyu, Hoyu. Hoyu means to possess something, and ryo means volume. So the volume of possessed capital ships of the United States, England, and Japan. O, direct object. And then we have hiritsu, so that's the ratio. So this whole thing means the ratio of the volume ratio of possessed capital ships by the United States, UK, and Japan was they stressed, or they pressed for a ratio of 10 by 10 by 6. Tosuru. So tosuru means to decide on doing it that way. So this part is America. Their position that they stressed was a 10-10-6 ratio of possessed capital ships by the United States, England, and Japan. And that's where that 10-10-6 comes in. They're lined up. The 10-10-6 is lined up in the same order that the countries are lined up in here. Okay, and then Nihon gawa no Taibei e Nanawari no shucho to tairitsu shita ga. To tairitsu shita. Let's just leave it there. So, and this was in conflict. Tairitsu was in conflict with the shucho. I think I should probably figure out exactly what they want me to say for shucho. It's like a claim, but in this particular circumstance, claim isn't a good word to use. Let's see here, shucho. Insistence, assertion, claim, opinion. So, insistence. So they insist that's, and a lot of Japanese words have multiple English translations that are somewhat related, but they're not perfect. And the same goes in the other direction. There are some English words that get translated different ways in Japanese, and there's no single word that encompasses all of the meaning of the other language's word. Okay, so Nihon gawa means the Japanese side, and Taibei against United States and the UK. So vis-a-vis, versus, that's what this Tai means. So, and then Nanawari means 70%. This wari is something that we don't have in English. It means one wari is 10%. So Nanawari is 70%. Now, here we go. And it was in opposition. So the whole thing is the Japanese side's insistence. The Japanese side's insistence on 70% in comparison to the United States and England was in conflict with the insistence of the United States to have a ratio of 10-10-6 of the ratio of possessed capital ships by the United States, the UK, and Japan. And then we have down here ga, so that means but. Kekyoku beian ga tori, beie kaku go nichi san hui kaku ichiten roku nana to shita. So this means in the end, the American proposition on ga tori, ga toru. So in this case, because it's continuing on the sentence, you're going to conjugate the ru to a ri, because this is written Japanese. So the beian ga tori means the American proposition prevailed. So kekyoku means in the end. So in the end, the American proposition won the day, and Beie Kakugo, so United States and the UK each got 5, Japan 3, France, this is the character for France, and this is the character for Italy, and each, this is Kaku, each 1.67. So in the end, the American proposition passed, and it was decided to have the ratio, and that's in parentheses, it doesn't actually say that, for the United States and England at 5 each, Japan at 3, and 1.67 for France and Italy each. Okay, and then koku bokan mo hobo doritsu ni seigen sare. So koku bokan is an aircraft carrier, and this means also mo. Hobo means almost. Doritsu means the same ratio. Do is same, and then ritsu is ratio. So it's the same characters up here. So this means comparative ratio. So he ritsu, he means comparison, and this means ratio. So then down here we have do, which is same ratio. So hobo do ritsu means almost the same ratio. Ni, two, and then seigen means limit. Sare is the passive tense of to do something. So this little part right here means aircraft carriers also were limited because it's passive. Were limited to almost the same ratio. And then we got Junyokan Ika ni tsuite wa hanashiai ga matomare nakatta ga 今後10年間終了区間建造の中止を約束し、いわゆる海軍休日に入った。So, I mean, look how long this sentence is. It ends here. Oh, I guess it does break here. Yeah. So, it's not as long as I thought. So aircraft carriers also were limited at nearly the same ratio. Junyokan is a cruiser. Ika, so it means that and lower. So they might be talking about tonnage or just smaller ships. So cruisers and ships smaller than that. Nitsuite, so in regard to. Wa, as for. Hanashi ai ga matomare nakatta. So hanashi ai means to discuss something. And if you come to a conclusion, like everyone comes to the same opinion in the end, that means like matomareru. So hanashi ai ga matomareru means like everyone talked and they kind of came to a consensus. But in this case, it's the negative. So hanashi ai ga matomare nakatta. So it means they didn't come to a consensus in their talks in regard to cruisers and ships smaller than that. But 今後10年間主力艦建造の中止を約束し, comma. So for the next, so Kongo means from now. So Kongo, from now. 10年間, 10 years. Shuryokukan, capital ship. Kenzo, construction. And then chushi means to halt or cease. And then this no connects two nouns. And then O, direct object marker, answers the question, what are we ceasing? That's wrong, sorry. Shuryokukan kenzo no chushi o yakusoku suru. So what is being done in regard to the cessation of the construction of capital ships for the next 10 years? Well, it's been promised. O yakusoku suru. So they promised that they would cease construction of capital ships for the following 10 years. And then iwayuru kaigun kyujitsu ni haita. So this iwayuru, we've seen that in the last video. Iwayuru means so-called. I like that word. It's a lot of fun to use. Iwayuru kaigun kyujitsu. So this means naval. Kaigun, navy, naval. Kyujitsu means a holiday. So and then haita means they entered into it. So iwayuru kaigun kyujitsu ni haita means they entered into this ni. They entered into the so-called naval holiday. Okay. Whoa, there we go. Let's see. There we go. Okay, and then 日本側が対米英7割から情報して6割を承認した理由は一つには対米英7割を固執して let's scroll down. There we go. Okay, and all right. All right, so 日本側が対米英7割から譲歩して6割を承認した理由は、一つには対米英7割を固執して会議を決裂させ、アメリカとの喧嘩競争を続けることとは、政治的にも経済的にも好ましくないと判断したからであり、第二に日本側が対米英6割の代償として太平洋における日英米の軍事施設及び海軍基地の現状維持を主張して承認され、比率上の、what is this word? I forget what that word is. Laissez? Let's see. Yep, laissez. をある程度補うことができたからであった。So here's our long sentence. Finally, we got a really long one. Starts here, ends here. All right. So first thing we're going to do, this first part sets up the scene because you see we got a wah here at the end of all of this business, and so this is Ryu, reason. Okay. So the reason, and you in some cases you start with the word right before the first wa, and in this case we're going to do this. We're going to do it this way. The reason, the Japanese side authorized 60% and gave up. Joho gave up, relinquished. Joho. Concede, compromise, and compromised. Okay, so the reason the Japanese side agreed to 60%, giving up or conceding on their from the position of 70% from 70% in regard or in contrast to the United States and the UK. So they're gonna give us reasons why they decided to go with 60% instead of 70%, like they originally wanted. So hitotsu ni wa, so for one thing, hitotsu ni wa, 対米英7割を固執して会議を決裂させ、アメリカとの喧嘩競争を続けることをokay, so for one thing, blowing up the conference, being persistent on 70% in regard to the United States and England was decided to be, way down here, was decided to be handan shita. So handan shita means they decided that it would not be konomashkunai. It would not be agreeable or desirable. It would not be desirable from the standpoint of political and economics. But I skipped something here. Okay, so アメリカとの喧嘩競争を続けることは経済的にも政治的にも経済的にも好ましくないと判断したからである。So the Japanese decided that that continuing the naval arms race with America would not be agreeable or good from the standpoint of politics or economics, and that would happen if they were persistent on the 70%, and which would in turn wreck the conference. Second, 第二に日本側が対米英6割の代償として太平洋における日英米の軍事施設及び海軍基地の現状維持を主張して承認され。Okay. Second, the Japanese side insisted, and this was approved, of the maintenance, the continuation of the current state, the status quo, in regard to Japanese, UK, American military facilities and naval bases in the Pacific region. And then we got this part here. So, 第二に、日本側が対米6割の、代償として。So, for compensation, for the 60% in against the United States and the UK, the Japanese side insisted on and was given authorization, or it was agreed to, maintenance of the status quo for Japanese, UK, and American military facilities and naval bases in the Pacific region. 比率上の、劣勢をある程度補うことができたからであった。So, and this からである is, you see, からであり, からであった. They got it 2 times. And we got it at the end of, we got one reason here. So first, and then it's got からでありas the final bit for that reason. And then we've got second, and we've got からであった down here, and that's the final part of this second reason. And what they do, why they're doing that is because they've got ryu up here, reason. And whenever you do this, whenever you set it up, I'm going to start listing reasons why something is. You start off with ryu wa, and then when you get a reason, you end it with kara de aru. So because it was this way, and then second, because it was this way. Yeah, but I digress. Okay, so 比率上の劣勢をある程度補うことができた. So this jo means so this is hiritsu, so the ratio jo. So this character means up, but it's this one's kind of hard to describe in English because we don't have a word for this. So jijitsu jo, reality, and then up. That means in fact, in reality. So this means this is ratio jo. So seems kind of cheap to say just in terms of the ratio. Let's see if the dictionary has anything better. It's a suffix. No, they don't. Yeah. So, and based on, well, let me just do the whole sentence here. Hiritsujo no ressei o. So the numerical inferiority. That's what ressei means. Is numerical inferiority that is within the ratio. O, direct object marker, and then this is one word, arutedo, to a certain extent, that's what arutedo means, to a certain extent. And then oginao means to complement or to make up for something. Koto ga dekita means that they were able to do it. So what this means is so the ratio, the numerical inferiority that was within the ratio was to a certain extent complemented. They were able to make up for the numerical inferiority that was within the ratio through the maintenance of the status quo in regard to the number of military facilities and naval bases in the Pacific that were held by these 3 countries. Okay, that's about it for section 2. So I don't know how much help this is going to be, but if you're studying the grammar, this is what you got to look forward to in the future, because this is how they write. It's easier. you get to the point that it's easier not to try to bring it back into English. You just keep it in Japanese. It goes quicker. If you understand it, then there's no reason to bring it back into English. And when you try to do so, you saw how much trouble I had doing it just now. But the good news is that this all makes perfect sense, and it's very easy to understand, as long as you don't try to bring it back into English. But if you keep on working at it and keep on looking up words and studying, then eventually you'll get better than me. So good luck, and keep studying.